Kamala Harris got caught. And you'll never guess who caught her and called her out. Welcome back to the channel. We got some glorious information to share with all of you, and it's just in time.
Tonight, mixed messages. A K-file investigation this hour finds Kamala Harris is targeting crucial battleground voters with vastly different messages on Gaza and Israel.
Wait, what?
This ad is running in Michigan, which has the largest Arab population in America.
What?
What has happened in Gaza over the past 9 months is devastating. We cannot allow ourselves to become numb to the suffering, and I will not be silent.
All right, well, it's a very different story for an ad in Pennsylvania targeting Jewish voters.
What?
Let me be clear. I will always stand up for Israel's right to defend itself, and I will always ensure Israel has the ability to defend itself, because the people of Israel must never again face the horror that a terrorist organization called Hamas caused on October 7.
What in the hell is going on here? This is on CNN. That's Aaron Burnett calling out Kamala Harris for running two different ads. One for Minnesota, one for Pennsylvania, and they're polarly opposite. Specifically, religiously opposite. Wow.
Different message. Andrew Kaczynski is out front now. So, Andrew, those obviously do sound starkly different, to say the least. Tell me more about what you found.
Yeah, that's right. And this really illustrates the sort of fine line that the Harris campaign is trying to walk here in the closing weeks, closing days of this campaign on the issue of Israel. Here you have two entirely different constituencies, and they are getting two entirely different messages. There are often times these constituencies have very opposing views on this. If you are a Jewish person in Pennsylvania, you saw that ad that you're getting. You are getting that ad that talks about how strong she is in Israel. If you're a Muslim voter in Michigan, you are getting that ad on Facebook that's talking about how she won't be silent on the issue of Gaza. Now, what's really interesting here is that ad that we just played, the one that's going to Jewish voters in Pennsylvania. Now, it sort of sounds like those two clips of her talking about Israel are together, but they actually cut part of it out. Take a listen to what they cut.
Can you believe what you're hearing? This is on CNN. Does CNN know things are crumbling? Do they realize the house of Harris is built on sand? Is it getting washed away as we speak? This is epic. Wow, I never thought I would see this anywhere near CNN.
What has happened in Gaza over the past 10 months is devastating. President Biden and I are working to end this war such that Israel is secure, the hostages are released, the suffering in Gaza ends, and the Palestinian people can realize their right to dignity, security, freedom, and self-determination.
And you've seen, too, that they cut out that portion of the ad where they talked about Gaza from her DNC speech. Those two parts were together. They sliced them. They cut that part out. Now, look, she's also getting hammered a lot on this issue by Republicans. We talked just a couple days ago about how those robocalls were airing in Wisconsin that are made to sound like they're in support of Jill Stein, talking about her position on Gaza, saying that they're highlighting her pro-Israel position, and they're sort of trying to siphon those votes away from her. So this is a really delicate issue for her.
Oh, it certainly is. I mean, the Palestinian people can realize their right to dignity, security, freedom, and self-determination are being cut out. It's important to notice that. All right.
Wow. CNN, good work. Good work on catching the double standards with the Kamala Harris campaign. Now, over on ABC, they're not as truthful. And none of the liberal news media is very truthful. That's why many of you watch people like me. Check out Miss Levitt, one of Donald Trump's staff members, and she goes medieval on this ABC host.
We want to talk about violence against political opponents. Let's talk about the fact that Democrats have been labeling President Trump a threat to democracy for the better half of 10 years. Let's talk about how they have compared him to Hitler, one of the worst mass murderers in the history of the world, and that Kamala Harris and Joe Biden weaponized the court system and the justice system in this country against Donald Trump in an attempt to imprison him. He sat through a courthouse for 7 weeks this past year, and the Democrats were hoping he would go to jail for it. That is real political violence that has led to two.
She's not wrong. The Democrat Party, Kamala Harris, Joe Biden, were depending on the court system to take Donald Trump out of the race. And when that didn't work, they tried to use the guy in Pennsylvania up on the roof. And when that didn't work, they tried to use the guy at Mar-a-Lago in the bushes at the golf course. Right? That's what they're doing. And for the last 8 years, they've tried to use the news media. And it doesn't work because many of you are too smart to get it. You're too smart to get the Trump derangement syndrome mind virus. That's what this is. Let's finish this.
Two heinous assassination attempts on President Trump's life that by the grace of God, he was able to escape and he is here with us today. So yes, President Trump knows a little bit about political violence because he's experienced it himself. And talking about the tragic realities of war that Liz Cheney and her father, Dick Cheney, have got this country into is not political violence. It's talking about the reality of the foreign conflicts that the Washington, D.C. establishment have sold out young Americans to for decades.
Yet, of course, after those attempted assassination attempts on the former president's life, his opponents.
She can't even get a sentence out because she's been destroyed. Destroyed. She can't speak. This is amazing to watch the meltdown with the liberal news media right before your eyes, just 4 days before the election.
Reached out to him and said they do not accept political violence. That has been a key difference. I do want to play you.
No, please. His opponents are saying to this very day the same rhetoric that led to those two assassination attempts. The second attempted assassin on President Trump's life echoed the sentiment that President Trump is a threat to democracy. And if you're a deranged lunatic and you're mentally ill, you will believe that lie. And yes,
if the White House, if Kamala Harris, if Joe Biden didn't want the violence to continue against Donald Trump, they would have quit calling him a fascist and a racist and a xenophobe and a homophobe and every other thing in between, including up to include calling him a full-blown Schmittler. Okay? That's what they've been calling him. And now they have ABC trying to tell you that the Democrat-controlled White House did not want political violence to occur against Donald Trump? How dumb do they think you are?
you will take political violence like we have seen in two instances against President Trump. Last week, Tim Walz and Kamala Harris said that everyone who showed up to President Trump's rally at Madison Square Garden was a Nazi. That's despicable, dangerous, divisive rhetoric that is spewed by the Democrat Party every single day. And I am so sick and tired of the media pointing the finger at Donald Trump and saying that he is sowing division in this country. He is not. The media is for pushing hoaxes like the one that you all pushed today, and the Democrat Party is for pushing lies about him. But the good news is Americans don't buy it. And that's why today in 2024, President Trump is more popular than he has been since 2016, because people don't trust the media and they're not buying the Harris campaign's closing argument that he's some great threat to our democracy, because they lived under him for 4 years as president, and our democracy and our country was stronger than it is today.
She just went off on this lady. Wow. I hope if Donald Trump wins, touch wood, if Donald Trump wins and becomes the president of the United States, the next one, that she is the press secretary. CNN and Jim Acosta, finished. ABC, Morning Joe, finished. They will all need counseling. Let's just hope that the people that said they were going to leave the country if Trump wins actually follows through this time. Let's hope they do. Let's hope the ones that stay, that have been at all these Diddy parties and have suddenly come out and endorsed Kamala Harris, let's hope they get their day in court. This is Liberal Logic 101.
I want to make sure I got this correct. You hate white men unless they're gay. You love black people unless they're conservative. You're for illegal immigration as long as they don't come into your home. You want to ban guns, but you want the government to still have theirs. You hate capitalism, but you expect these corporations to change their logo for Pride Month. You hated slavery, so you hate the party that was formed to abolish the slaves. You hated slavery, but you align with the party that was for keeping slaves. You don't recognize two genders unless you're talking about their hormones. You hate American values, but yet you want to still live here. Your party controls the House, the Senate, and the presidency, but it's everyone else's fault. You hated the Trump administration, but you're concerned for Mike Pence's life. You say black people can't be racist, but Candace Owens, Thomas Sowell, and Larry Elder are white supremacists. You want to ban guns to save children, but keep abortion to murder them. Comment if I missed anything.
I don't think you missed anything. Democrat Party and liberal logic is the party of double standards. Everything they accuse you of doing, they've already done, or they've planned to do it again. That's all that's mattering right now. Do you want a party of double standards? Do you want a party that will tell you you're a bad human being,